All right, ready to dive in. Today, it's Luanda, Angola. Not just some random city, but a place where, well, how would you describe it?
It's like where the energy of Africa, meets the rhythm of the Atlantic. A city buzzing, full of life, but steeped in history, too. And get this, Luanda is one of the oldest colonial cities in Africa.
Wow, oldest in Africa. That's incredible. I did not realize that.
Yeah, founded way back in the 16th century by the Portuguese. Luanda's past, it's captivating, but gotta be honest, it's pretty complex, too. Played a big role in the slave trade, a pretty dark part of history that shaped the city we see today.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, every city, every place has those layers, right?
Dentale, yeah.
So to help us unpack all of this, we've got a couple of sources. We've got a travel website, FlightNHotels.com, for the practical stuff. And then this super in-depth article on must-see Luanda destinations.
And what's interesting is both sources show Luanda as modern and traditional at the same time. A city on the move, but yeah, definitely hasn't forgotten its roots.
It's that perfect blend, right? Old and new. Okay, so give me some highlights. What really jumps out from the article?
Well, Fortaleza de São Miguel, it's a 16th century fortress overlooking the city. Panoramic views, a glimpse into Angola's colonial past,
Sign me up. History A&D, amazing views.
Yeah.
That's the best combo.
It makes you think about, well, the forces that shape not just Luanda, but the whole region, right? Those colonial structures, they're like echoes of history.
It's like reading about history is one thing, but to actually being in a place like that, to feel it.
Oh, absolutely. History comes alive, that firsthand experience. And speaking of experiences, we got to talk about Ilha do Cabo, or Cabo Island. Picture pristine beaches, those ocean views, just relaxation.
Pristine beaches. You had me at pristine beaches. Okay, so paint me a picture. Are we talking white sand, turquoise water, like that idyllic beach scene?
All of that. But here's the thing. These coastal spots, they're not just pretty. They're important ecosystems that need protecting, right? Luanda, it's like a lot of coastal cities trying to balance, development with the environment.
Yeah, it's easy to forget about that when you're thinking vacation mode.
Yeah.
But being mindful even on vacation, that's key.
For sure. Responsible travel, it's finding that balance. And Luanda, it's got this knack for balancing the old with the new,
Right. So we've got those historical spots, the beaches, but then there's this Miradouro da Lua, the moon viewpoint.
Yeah.
Like something straight out of a movie, apparently.
And just a short drive from the city. It's amazing the landscapes you can find in Angola. From the city to these lunar formations. Millions of years in the making.
Okay, that is going on my list. But you know me, no trip is complete without
hitting the markets.
Exactly. You got to experience the local vibe, right? So Mercado de Artesanato, the craft market, that's where I'm putting my bargaining skills to the test.
These markets are more than just shopping. It's the artisans, the traditions. It's where you really connect with Luanda's soul, I think.
You're right. It's not just about checking things off a list. It's about immersing yourself, feeling the rhythm of the place. And I'm guessing Luanda has its own unique rhythm.
Oh, it does. This blend of African, Portuguese, and Brazilian influences, really unique.
So all that culture, got to fuel it, right?
Yeah.
Talk to me about the food scene in Luanda. What are we in for?
Get ready for some amazing flavors. Angolan cuisine, it's known for these savory stews. Muamba de galinha, that's chicken, rich and flavorful. And then kalulu, fish and vegetable stew, just bursting with taste.
You had me at stew. Okay, seriously, I'm all about experiencing new food, especially when it's so tied to the culture.
And the nightlife, just as diverse as the culture itself. Upscale places, lively bars, clubs with all kinds of music, local and international. The city knows how to have fun.
Okay, now I'm ready to book that flight. But before I get carried away, let's talk logistics. That's where FlightNHotels.com comes in, right?
Yeah.
Make the planning easier.
Oh, yeah. It's the best. What I like is you can compare all the prices, hotels, airlines, find the best deals. Super efficient.
Right. Because whether it's luxury or budget friendly, it's got to be easy to plan. Speaking of, the article mentions some beautiful beaches, Ilha do Mussulo, Praia do Leste. Are these the kind of beaches that just make you want to, unplug and soak it all in?
Absolutely. Ilha do Mussulo, that one's known for being peaceful, crystal clear water, great for families. And then Praia do Leste, the water's calm there, so perfect for swimming, relaxing, having a picnic, all of that.
So we've got history, markets, food, nightlife, beaches. Is there anything Luanda doesn't have?
Well, it does have its challenges, like any city that's growing so fast.
Yeah.
But what stands out is the people, their resilience, their drive to build a better future for their city. Luanda, it's always moving, that mix of tradition and modernity, and, well, you can feel that energy.
A city on the rise, definitely. But that makes you wonder, how will it balance all this development, with preserving its culture? How will it navigate, like, the global world while staying true to its roots?
Those are the big questions, yeah. And ones we'll keep exploring as we dive deeper into Luanda.
Okay, so much to think about already. But we're just getting started. Back for more Luanda.
Last time, we were, blown away by all the amazing things to see and do. But it's the people, right, that really make a place come alive. So tell me about the culture of Luanda. What makes it so unique?
The Angolan people, they're resilient, think about it. They've been through so much colonialism, civil war, and now this rapid modernization. But their cultural identity, it really shines through.
It does, yeah. Looking at these sources, it's clear, their art, their music, even just their everyday life. There's this vibrancy, this sense of community.
You're hitting on something important. It's this idea, it's seen across many African nations, actually. It's called Ubuntu.
Ubuntu.
Okay.
Gotta break that down for me.
Yeah.
Sounds interesting, but not something I'm familiar with. So it's this philosophy, really beautiful, all about interconnectedness. It's community, shared experiences, and this belief that we're all bound together, part of something bigger.
Wow, that's pretty powerful stuff. Really makes you think, especially compared to the individualism thing we see so much in the West.
It's a different way of looking at things for sure. And in Angola, Ubuntu, it's not just an idea, it's in how they live. Strong family ties, hospitality, always helping each other out.
It makes me think about travel, too. Maybe it's less about the sites and more about connecting with people, experiencing that Ubuntu,
I couldn't agree more. And I have a feeling Luanda would be, a pretty welcoming place for that.
Yeah, that's great to hear. You mentioned that hospitality is really important in Angolan culture. That's encouraging for, someone who might be experiencing a totally different culture for the first time.
Even if there are language barriers, that warmth, that generosity, it often goes beyond words.
Definitely. Okay, let's talk about art. We know about those traditional crafts, but what about Luanda's contemporary art scene? What's happening there?
It's a real mix. You've got the traditional forms alongside contemporary art galleries showcasing, Angolan artists, santers, sculptors, even filmmakers. What's cool is they engage with their heritage, but also modern themes too.
So it's not just about preserving the past, but using art to, understand the present, maybe even imagine the future?
Yeah, exactly. That's what makes Luanda so exciting for arts, drawing in artists and art lovers from all over.
Can't talk culture without talking music. We touched on Luanda's nightlife, but what about distinctly Angolan music? What might we hear there?
Get ready to move. 2 words. Kuduro and Semba. Kuduro, that's high-energy electronic. It's actually gone global. Semba, that's got its roots in folk music, a bit more traditional, but just as lively.
I love discovering new music. Do you think we could, find places to actually dance to these genres? I'm getting serious FOMO just thinking about it.
Oh, I'm sure of it. Maybe we should even add some dance lessons to our itinerary. But seriously, music, it's such a powerful way to connect with a culture.
100%. It's that universal language. All right, but before we get totally lost in the music, let's get back to the practical side of things for a bit. We've got flights, accommodation, thanks to FlightNHotels.com. But what about getting around in Luanda itself?
Ah, yes, good point. So taxis are pretty common. The article mentions that, but advises using reputable services, for safety.
Makes sense. Any other transportation options?
Public buses, that's an option. Could be an adventure, though. They tend to be pretty crowded. If you want more flexibility, renting a car is possible, but traffic and the road conditions can be a bit tricky.
Okay, noted. This might be where having a local guide would be really helpful. Someone who knows the best ways to get around, plus all those insider tips we love.
I agree. Plus, it's a way to directly support the community, which fits with our whole, responsible travel thing.
All right, speaking of responsibility, Luanda is a coastal city. It's developing fast. What are some things we can do as visitors to make sure our impact is positive, both for the environment and the people?
Lots of things, actually. Choosing eco-friendly places to stay, supporting local businesses, respecting local customs and traditions, that's a good start.
And just being mindful of our consumption in general, like watching our water usage, minimizing waste, all that.
Exactly. It all adds up, Even small actions, if thousands of visitors are doing them, it makes a difference. Now, we've talked about all the amazing things Luanda has to offer, but every city has its challenges, right? What are some things potential visitors should be aware of?
That's a really important point. Got to be realistic. Approach any destination with, like, open eyes.
Luanda, like many developing cities, faces things like poverty and inequality. It shouldn't stop anyone from visiting, but it's important to be respectful and aware of the context.
And being aware of scams, too, right? Another reason a local guide could be invaluable.
Absolutely. A good guide can help you navigate safely and ethically, making sure your experience is both enjoyable and authentic.
Okay, so we've covered culture, art, music, practical tips, even some of the challenges. What's the missing piece? What's the heart and soul of Luanda?
It's the human element, the stories, the dreams, the everyday lives of the people who call Luanda home. That's what truly connects us to a place.
I love that. We can research all the facts, but those personal stories, they just hit differently. Imagine sitting down with a local family, sharing a meal, hearing their stories firsthand.
Now that's an experience that stays with you, both for the visitor and the community.
It reminds us that travel isn't just about consuming sights. It's about building those bridges, sharing those experiences, and really understanding different cultures.
And Luanda, with all its cultural richness and energy, well, it seems like the perfect place for that.
This deep dive has been so enriching. I feel like I've learned so much already, but I'm ready to go even deeper.
And we will. There's still so much more to uncover about Luanda.
Welcome back, part 3 of our Luanda deep dive. It's wild. We've already uncovered so much history, culture, practical tips, the whole deal.
But I still feel like we've just, scratched the surface. Luanda's this city that's constantly changing, this place where the past and the present, they're always talking to each other.
It is, yeah. That's what's so fascinating about it, that push and pull, tradition and progress, and seeing it all unfold.
It's a tension, that a lot of cities are dealing with, but in Luanda, it feels, more intense somehow.
So how do you see that tension playing out, specifically? Give me an example.
Well, the architecture, for one. You've got those colonial-era buildings, these grand structures right next to modern skyscrapers. It's like a visual representation of that dialogue between Luanda's past and present.
It's like those old buildings are whispering stories to the new ones. I wonder what the skyscrapers whisper back.
Right. And it's not just buildings, it's in the social fabric, too.
Yeah, I'm picturing traditional family structures, but then you have the younger generation embracing new ideas, wanting more individual freedom.
Exactly. It creates this dynamic, this cultural dance between what was, what is, and what could be.
It's a reminder that culture isn't stuck in time. It's always evolving, which is what makes travel so enriching.
Absolutely. And Luanda, with its mix of African, Portuguese, Brazilian influences, that's a rich tapestry to explore, for sure.
Okay, let's get adventurous. Beyond those must-see spots, any hidden gems you'd recommend? Off the beaten path kind of stuff.
To really get a feel for Luanda's soul, I'd say check out the street art scene. Lots of neighborhoods have these amazing murals, so colorful, they reflect the city's energy, even its political realities. It's art that's alive,
I love that. Street art, it always feels so raw, so real, like a direct line to the heart of a community. I can picture us wandering through those neighborhoods, finding those murals, and just getting this whole other perspective on Luanda.
It's a great way to experience art organically, just woven into daily life. Plus, you're supporting the artists, seeing their creativity firsthand.
Okay, I'm convinced. We're exploring like locals.
Yeah.
Gotta eat like them too, right? So, beyond the fancy restaurants, any hidden food spots you'd recommend?
Get yourself to the local markets, away from the touristy areas. Stalls full of fresh produce, spices. You'll find unique Angolan dishes, stuff you won't find anywhere else. It's an experience for all the senses.
Ooh, I can almost smell those spices now. And I bet the markets are full of energy, people chatting, bargaining. It's that kind of thing that really makes you feel like you're part of the place, not just passing through.
Exactly. Embracing the unfamiliar, that's where the magic of travel happens. Stepping outside your comfort zone, being open to the unexpected.
It's about letting go of your assumptions and just being surprised by what you encounter.
Yeah, and Luanda, with its energy and cultural mix, well, it seems like the ideal place for that kind of journey.
So we've talked a lot about Luanda. As we wrap up this deep dive, what are the key takeaways you want listeners to remember?
I hope they see Luanda as more than just a dot on a map. It's this vibrant, ever-changing mix of cultures, a place where the past, the present, the future, they're all intertwined.
A city that embraces its complexities. It's not afraid of contradictions.
Exactly. It's grounded in tradition, but pushing towards progress at the same time.
It's faced its share of difficulties, for sure, but the people are resilient. You can see that spirit shining through.
And most importantly, Luanda, it invites us to explore, to connect, to really understand the world in a new way.
That's beautifully said. Luanda has definitely captured our imaginations. Who knows, maybe someday soon we'll be wandering those markets, checking out the street art, and dancing to kuduro music.
And until then, let's stay curious, keep that wanderlust alive, and just be open to all the amazing possibilities out there.
This has been an incredible journey, exploring Luanda together. Thanks for being here with us for this deep dive.
And remember, the journey doesn't end here. Keep exploring, keep learning, keep diving deep into the world. There's so much out there to discover.